All right, everyone. Welcome to the stream. My apologies for being late. I had a couple clients contacting me at like the same time, like 10 minutes ago. So a couple emails, things to get through to make sure everything's good. Going to do a full day of filming tomorrow for a client, so that's going to be fun. So we're going to have to get ready for that later on this evening. But for today, we are going to review what we did yesterday, or I guess I should say on Friday, which was we created some wireframes, and then we're going to get started jumping into Webflow and doing some designing. So that's what we're doing today. So how are you doing? How are you doing? Hope everyone is doing well today. And of course, if you're watching this into the future, hope you're doing well, whatever day it is, I guess, that you're watching. So what I'm going to do, I just need to organize myself here a little bit because I just kind of fired stuff on here. Okay, got my chat thing all set up. And one thing we're going to want is we're going to want to have our content that we created. Okay, I got that. How's that camera doing? Hope that camera's okay. Okay. So let's jump in and let's do what's it called? An overview, a recap. Let's see if this camera. You might need to take the lens cap off. Let's see how that's looking. There we go. All right. Okay. Get this thing out of the way. Okay. So here we go. Here is our wireframes for the website. So maybe one thing which might be good. Let's do this first. Let's go here. Let's zoom in on this. So this is the website copy, and this is what we have for our website. We're going to have 6 pages. We're going to have the home page, the work page. And inside the work page, there's going to be several sub-pages for all the different, work and clients that we've done to showcase our work. Services page, process page, the journal, which is like a blog post or blog page. And then, of course, each individual blog post will have its own internal page. And then a contact us page. Very, very simple. So that's what we have. And this is what we have for the wireframe. So we have our home page here. We have the big hero section, which says kind of what it is that we do. We have a little bit of a tagline here, and then we have a call to action to learn more about the process and how we work with our customers. We have a logo kind of client list here, and I think this is probably going to go somewhere below, but we'll see exactly how that's going to work once we start actually designing it, because things could change around a little bit. We have here is a image for a featured client, and that's going to be a little bit of an animation. So we're going to design that in, I'm not sure what we're going to use. If we're going to use Photoshop or DaVinci Resolve or something like that to make like an animated little video, maybe like an animated GIF or something like that. And there's some details of the client, and I think, yeah. And then below that, then it goes to this saying here, your brand speaks to who you are, and then a little bit more content. And that just gives the user a little bit more information about what it is that we do. And then I have here, these are blog posts or news posts. I guess what we're going to say, it's like from the journal. So these would be images, and then the title, and then the person's name, whoever wrote it. And then a call to action here to go more. And then a let's talk. This is the form, or not the form, but the call to action area of people to click here to get in touch, to go to the contact page if they want to work with us together. And then we have the second page. This is the work page, transforming businesses through design. So here's one work, here's one client, here's another one, and then it's just so on and so forth down below. And we have here on the individual client page, so we have the name of the client in bold, in big letters. Then we have, these are the different services that we've used or this client has utilized in this project. A quick description here of the objectives of the work we were doing with this client. Then here's that image that's repeating. And then here is, so here's an example of one service. So say it was, web design, and then there'll be a little bit of a blurb of what we did here with the web design. And then it goes into, so this is kind of like a continuation. So it's going to be divided into different sections. So each section is going to be dedicated to one service, right? And we have, let me look at my notes here. I should know this, 5 different services we offer: website design, application development, brand strategy, visual identity, and that's hard to do with four fingers, visual identity, and then content creation. So if this is content creation, this will be the little bit of a blurb of what kind of content it is that we did for that client. And then we have here some room for some images. This is a little bit vague in terms, not vague, but I didn't flesh this out too much because it's going to be dynamic depending on who the client is and what kind of collateral we're going to be able to have to provide, for images and all that stuff on this page. And then I have a section here for a quote, so we can have 1 or 2. I have here times 2, times 3 more quotes from different people within that organization. So that'll be a real kind of cool thing to do. Of course, testimonials are always great to have. And that, I think, is what I have for the client page. Those will probably be one of the last pages we'll work on as we develop our portfolio. Footer here, let's just keep this aside just for a second. Okay, third page, we have, is this the process? No, the services that we do. So we're a full service creative studio. What is it? We're a full service creative studio that works as an extension of your team. So we have that over here. And then we have a little bit of a description here. Using our people first approach, we work with your team to create great brands, engaging applications, and highly consumable digital content. And these are the different services that we offer. So there's going to be the website design written in big text, and then a description of what that entails. Same thing here, application development. This is what we do, so on and so forth through the 5 different services. So that's all that's going to be here. It's going to be very simple page, nothing too fancy about this at all. And number 4, this is our, I'm going to get a pencil. This is our process page. We're all about people. And what do we have for a little subline? Brands are built by people, for people, and our process has been molded by, Sorry, I'm just reading that. It doesn't really make too much sense for me. Might have to look into that. Anyways, brands are built by people, for people, and our process has been molded by over a decade of building successful brands for businesses of all sizes. So I think the gist is here is that we kind of work for people and that we've had a lot of experience working with people. And we want to make sure that they're taken care of every step of the way. So every step of the way, we're going to have this like one in like a really big, super exaggerated font and the name of the process. So number 1 is understanding the opportunity. And there's big text up over there. And then that's just going to repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 steps of the process. And I put these here as there might be, I'll try to get some imagery where it's either me working and then also me working and interacting with clients, whether that's, showcasing a proposal or like presenting a proposal or something like that to a client. So I'm going to ask some of my old clients if they want to do any kind of a shoot or what have you. So that'll be that'll be nice to have. Just a little bit of imagery to kind of showcase that, hey, we're a serious company. We do really good work, and we have a lot of tools. You see those people that are working, got Post-it notes all over the place when they're making, things like this, whether it's like strategy mapping or brainstorming or even wireframing, the whole user interface. So anyways, moving on to number 5, this is the journal, pixels to enjoy. And this is, join us, as we kind of have our stream of consciousness flowing into on paper. So here we have the latest post, the latest article, who's written by, the title. Here's some more, and then it just goes on. Maybe it'll be an easy load or something like that. And then here, I save this section here for a knowledge center. If there's any kind of product or whatever that we're going to end up developing, this is where it's going to be. It's almost like a place where you can have an advertisement, but it's not an advertisement. It's our actual, website and the products and services that we offer. And then here, categories, the different categories of posts that we write, and then maybe a section for popular as well too. And I do think this page over here, number 5, I really need, sorry, this is really light, I'm just noticing. So hopefully you can see this and it's not too dark. This camera's aperture, when I zoom in, it goes to a larger aperture, which lets in less light, which makes it darker. And then it's also a little bit darker in this room too. So, or at least, yeah. Let me know if it's really bad, and we'll see about fixing this for next time. Okay. So, and this is an individual blog post. So there's the big title here. This is a little bit different from the other pages in that the content here is more center aligned and everything is a little bit thinner as well. So you have the title, you have the avatar, the author, the date, and this is the first paragraph, which is kind of like a big kind of intro paragraph. So it's a lot larger text. And then here you have the body of just the regular content of the actual article. If there's any images, there'll be a few different layouts for having, a gallery of images or maybe just one really large image. That'll just be, it'll be able to handle that type of kind of dynamic content. And then also a pull quote, if there's anything that's really stand out or something that's unique that we want to kind of pull out of the actual main text, this will be a little bit wider than the actual body of the content and in much bigger and larger font as well. And then contact page. This is where, we'll qualify our leads or get our leads. Well, that's what we're hoping for anyways. So let's connect, a little bit of description of what that means. And then a form field, name, email, company you work for, what might you need help with, or how can we help you today? Tell us a bit about your project. This is a text field or text area. What's your timeline and what is your budget? And then, I don't have it here, but we're going to need a little submit button. Something like this. Okay. And that's it. Those are the pages. That's our website. Super simple. Oh, I didn't go over this real quick. The footer. So there's a few different ideas for the footer, and I'm not sure which one I settled on, which one I'm thinking. There's this one here where you have the logo here on the right side, along with the kind of the tagline, and then kind of social media links, as well as this is a link to home process services. So just a repeat of the main navigation, and then an email address form to collect people's email addresses to sign up for our newsletter. Then I thought of another one here where it's more just center aligned at the bottom, where we have our logo, our name, navigation, social media links, and then a subscribe form. Oh, I think I did another one here as well too, where here's the tagline, a little bit of a logo, and the copyright, and then the different navigation items that we'd want on the footer. Pixel, which is for the company, social, which is our social media. And this is gives us a little bit more flexibility if we add any different pages into the future. So we'll kind of see how things look, and then we'll kind of figure out what we want to do with the footer. Yeah, we got this for number 2. Let's throw that here. Okay, so what do you think? Let me know what you think. Let me see. Hey Charlene, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Lighting. Yes, I'll fix the lighting. I'll make sure that it's all fixed and ready to go for next time. Yeah, I know. Not the greatest. And how are things going? You still owe me some content. We need to get together so we can get your stuff going. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been thinking about it all the weekend actually. So yeah, we got to get to it. Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, your idea, it's really good. I think you're onto something, and now I'm just super happy and excited that I'd be able to work it out with you. So yeah. We're all in this together. We're all here to get to work and work on our businesses, help people, and then you know what? At the same time, maybe make ourselves a lot of money at the same time. So right on. All right. So now we need to start actually building stuff. So this is where it's going to get really fun. And if you're looking at, absolutely, lots of goals. If you're looking at wanting to learn how to build websites, or what's involved anyways, this is a good time to start watching these episodes, because I think this is probably going to take us a good, well, I don't want to say the whole week, but it might take us a little bit of time to get this thing all nailed down. Right. So what do I want to do here? Let's get sharing. Okay. So as we have here, this is our content. This is all of the content that we want to have on the website. And we're going to dive right into Webflow. And this is going to be our own project. Let's just make our new site. And if you're not familiar with Webflow is a website. Let me use their words, but it's a platform that you could use to develop and design your own website without using any kind of code whatsoever. So it's really, really good. So if you ever heard of something like Wix, it's kind of like that. But this one, I would say, is more in tune, or more, the audience is more for people that are already designers and people that are already developers, because you're greeted with this editor. I mean, this is kind of the editor here, and it has a whole bunch of different things that if you don't really know how a website is built and structured, you might have a little bit of a hard time using this platform. That being said, you can go in, and I do believe they have templates, just like a WordPress website would have templates. Let me see. Yeah, templates. So if you just want to have, we'll say I'm looking for, I don't know, I like a gym. Okay, or fitness. That might be a little bit better. Okay, whatever, a gym. So you go into here, and then they have like little templates, and you can kind of preview what this looks like. And this is like a template that you can take, and you can take it into the designer or the editor or what have you, and go ahead and kind of build it, to what makes sense for you, right? So yeah, so I don't know, pretty cool. But again, if you're a complete beginner and you have no idea how to, like how a website is made, you just be sure to give yourself some time to go over some tutorials and to watch a bunch of YouTube videos just to get yourself up to speed with the tool. I mean, it's going to be the same thing whether you're using Wix or WordPress or whatever. If you've never done a website before, there's a little bit of a learning curve that you're going to have to figure out on your own. So watching content like this, it could certainly be helpful. So where are we? Yes, we're going to do our site here. Pixel Media Corporation. All right. Create our site. So now, if you remember in some of my earlier videos, I was talking about an idea of creating a company that builds components for Webflow, because every website has its own kind of components, right? So you could have something like this where, you know, you have your header, which has a logo and a navigation, kind of these very simple and similar components is really, they'll have a hero section where I'll have the big text and a call to action, whether it's a subscribe here or whatever it is. There's like a blog post where those are very similar. So those are components that from project to project, they're reused pretty much all the time, right? So if that's the case, then having a library where you can cut and paste these components can speed up your development time by like, I would say almost like 90%. Because like right in here, like having this wireframe, if I could just drag and drop all those different pieces, like the website would be done. And all I would have to do would be, you know, to add my colors and do some custom designing in terms of what I want the fonts and all that stuff to be. And away you go. But as of right now, you see, I have to start everything completely from scratch, which is fine because I know, you know, what it is I want to build, but having components are really good. So I'm thinking if I should start building components on here and then just kind of as I go, when I work on projects, I kind of build these components that I know that could be reused when I get into different projects. So something I'm thinking about. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we are at a completely blank canvas here. So where should we start? Yeah, absolutely. Templates are literally the best thing in the world. They save you a whole lot of time. Okay, so body. Let's just set a class here. And where do we want to start? We should definitely start probably with our header, which is going to be something. Oh, you know what we should start with? Or should we start with this? I'm thinking if we should start with a little bit of the database. Let's start with a little bit of the database and let's get thinking a little bit about what kind of content we're going to have on this website and how we're going to store that information. So the first thing we know is we need a journal, right? This is what we're calling our blog posts, and this is what's going to keep all of our blogs basically. And let's get some fields. We're going to need, okay, so we have a name, which is basically, actually, let's edit this. This is the title. That's the title, and we want to have what do we have when we have a blog? We're going to have a thumbnail and adding fields. If you're not familiar with like making a database for a website, you could almost think of it as having different tables. Well, they are like kind of different tables. So this is what we're doing. This collection is we're creating a table where we're going to keep different entries. And every entry, like an Excel sheet, has different columns, right? And those columns have different headers. So for example, when you're making a blog post, every blog is going to have, like, think of your Excel spreadsheet. The first column, it's going to be the title of the blog. The second is going to be the thumbnail. The third is going to be the actual content. The fourth, the author. So, and depending what you want, you're going to have different columns. So that's what we're doing right here. So we're kind of creating these columns for our blog. Okay. We are going to need a Do we need a short description? Yes, we do. A short description. And then we're going to want the actual journal post. We'll throw that in there. This is a rich text element, which will allow us to put all kinds of cool things inside the post. Images. You can have lists. And of course, the most important thing, words and the actual article. We're going to want to have an author, but that's going to link to another collection, which we're going to need to do. We're going to have to make an authors collection. So we'll do that in a little bit here. So I want a thumbnail. Do we also want anything more than a thumbnail? Do we want a featured image? I think that might be too much. Oh, this might be really small, eh? Let me see if I can I make this bigger? Let's do that. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully that helps. And so we got the thumbnail, we got the description, we got the post. That's probably good for now. We can always go back and update this later if we need to. Oh, let's go create. Oh, what's going on? Oh no. Do I have a Webflow issue going on right now? Create is not working. Save changes, please. There we go. So that did save, thankfully. Okay, so we are going to create a new collection. And now we're going to call this authors, or just author. No, we'll do authors. No, just author. We're going to have a name, and then we're going to have, their profile picture. And we could have some links. So Twitter. And then also say a link to, I don't even know if I'm going to put that in. Yeah, just Twitter if I even have that. Oh, I just want to cancel this field. Yeah, exit that field. So we have the name, profile picture. Yeah, that's good enough. So if we go back to journal here, we are going to add a field and we're going to do a reference so we can reference the author. So that way each article is going to be linked to an author, which makes sense, I hope. So we have that. And I was thinking if we were going to put the work that we do into a database, but it doesn't make any sense because I think each portfolio page or each client is going to look a little bit different. So they're not all going to have a quote from, well, actually they should all have quotes and testimonials, but they might not all have, what's the word I'm looking for? They might not have, the same amount of images. They might not be using the same amount of services, right? So they're all going to be different and each and unique. So we're going to build each one of them one at a time. And there's not going to be very many as well either. So, okay. So we have that. So let's lay out our framework here. So what I like to do is wrap everything within some type of container. We're just going to call this a wrapper right now. Then do we want So I think what we're going to have, I do know on our website, the website, it's going to have, think about, you have a web page where it's like, it's this wide, right? Or your window screen, but then the website is this long. So our website is going to be like this. Most of the content is going to go right to the edge of that containing element, but there might be some instances where we might want to have stuff that's smaller and then have things expand beyond the whole container. So I think we're going to need to have 2 different walls for the website. So with that being said, one of them is going to be, how should we put this? I think you'll see what I'm saying when I get to building out the header and the main body. So let's start with the header first. And let's just start building that. So what do we want here? Header is going to be, we want a tag of header there. So one thing I think I need to learn more is the Webflow elements that are pre-made. So I want to see if I can work with the navigation. Where is it? The nav bar. Let's bring this in here. So if you go on this little button here, add, Webflow has their own kind of pre-built elements as well too, which is kind of nice. So they have like a drop-down menu, a nav bar, a light box, tabs, and slider. So you don't have to necessarily build all these by yourself, because these ones generally have a little bit more to it than just HTML and CSS. Sometimes they have JavaScript or whatever that's driving the underlying functionality. So it's good that they have this in. So for example, this is already built in where when you go on to a mobile device, this hamburger menu is already there, right? So that's good that that's kind of pre-built. But is it going to have what we want? I think it's going to. So, but it just has a bunch of stuff in here that I don't like. Oh, right. We were having issues last time, I think, with how it was laid out and not expanding over the whole width of a container. Right, because right away we can see that it has this container here. Right, like it has this maximum width. Is it set here? Oh, 100%. Interesting. So why is it doing that? I don't need this. So you know what I think I'll do? If you don't mind, I'm going to throw on a little bit of music. Just because I know that there's going to be some times when I'm going to be thinking about something and maybe not talking as much as I normally do, which is interesting because I tend to talk quite a bit. All right, so I need some ambient music here. So I'm not sure if how this is coming through. So if it's too loud, not loud enough, whatever, just let me know. Just something a little bit in the background, which kind of helps relax, think about things, work through some problems. All right. Oh, all good? Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So it says brand. What happens if you delete that? Do I have a copy of my logo? It's kind of temporary. So I just whipped it up. It's just a word logo. But let's see. Oh, I do, but it's only an Illustrator. Oh, there it is. Okay. New folder. Let's go. And let's go. Oh, I need a new one. Logos. Let's put our logos inside our images. Okay, and then there's our logo. So right in here, we can throw in our logo. Just pixel media. That's fine. And why is it not displaying? I don't know. It's this thing with these built-in things, these elements from Webflow. I don't know exactly what it is that they're doing. So why is it not showing? Needs a width. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. So let's make this 100 pixels. Yeah, because if we flex it, it does this. It really bothers me. Right. Okay. So with this built-in component, here, let me just try one last thing. Okay. So this is really strange, and I remember having this issue when I was working on with this before. So when you have an element, in this case, we have this navigation element. When you put the position at it flex, or the display flex, that means it's kind of like a flexible thing. And what it does is that it spreads everything out to what its parent element is. So you can almost think of websites as like different boxes and how boxes fit. So we have a box right now, which is our header, which stretches 100% of the whole width of the screen. So from here, this section to this section. And when you justify it to space between, this is supposed to distribute the boxes from on each side evenly. So the pixel logo is supposed to go all the way to the left, and then the home about contact is supposed to take that element all the way to the right. But it's not doing that. It's putting things like here's at the middle, here's things at the left and right. And so for whatever reason, it's not going to the full width over here. And I don't know why it's doing that. And I think there's something to do with how this element is like kind of pre-made, right? Within Webflow. And that's very frustrating. Like super, super frustrating. And even this is not really aligning nicely as I'd want it to. So what if I give it an actual number? Maybe that's what it needs. Yeah, it's still okay. Should be able to figure this out. What is this thing here? It's like adding this pseudo element, or on this pseudo element. What is this? I can't remember. Right. I know of that, but all right. Well, not necessarily. Unless it has to do with oh, it's just the display. I guess it's already right. I think it's like already flex or something like that. So if it already is, if you're doing it again, I don't know, something's getting all wonky. Woo. Maybe that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Right, okay. Okay, so we're trying to be too fancy and trying to do too much there, which is okay. But we need to make sure we want this image. We want everything centered in here. So how are we going to horizontally align or align it this way if we're not flex or grid? All right, let's not worry about that too much. Because I want to get a decent state here with everything. Okay. So we're going to have process. Actually, before we do that, that's navigation. And delete that one. Now process. We're going to have services, journal. Oh, we gotta have our work. And then contact. Put that first. So I don't want these. One of the things for me, I'm very, oh, you know what we should do actually? Oh no, we have. Right, that's even if we're just flexing. I don't need, interesting. Oh, not there. I don't need to bookmark that. Nope. Remove. Ah, okay, here we go. Let's just throw this in here. Let's throw all our items in here. And there, that works. Interesting. So if you apply anything to here, it like does it to like the whole thing. Oh, no wonder. I got the stupid me. I have things named here the same class. You can't do that. Well, you can, but not for two completely different things. Because when you call something a name, you give it properties. Like when you have something of a class navigation and you add all these things, these give properties to the specific elements with this name. So this main thing here, which contains everything, had a class of navigation, and then I add a class of navigation as well too, which is not good. So instead of calling this navigation, we will call it navigation items. That makes more sense. And then let's take all this stuff out because we don't need this nav container thing anymore. Okay. So we have our items. We want to display it flex. We want that so that way we can give these things columns right in the middle. And again, this is still going to do that. It's going to center it nicely, but we're going to have to figure out how to center these items. I'm not sure if I'm loving how this image is working. We're probably gonna have to put this into like an SVG because we don't want to have an image, but that's okay. We have an image just for now. Let's leave that at that. Okay. I know. Okay, let's do this. Let's have okay. So how do I want to do this? Inside versus outside. No, that's not gonna work. Oh, that won't work. So let's say center everything. If that whoop. So this container is going to set the maximum width that we're going to want for our website, minus this padding over here. Padding goes inside the element. Margins goes outside of the element. So put it at 1600. But what I want is I want to have, yeah, just this inside container. And how should I? Should I give it a padding? So let's say we want this one to only be 1200 pixels. That itself might be too much. I don't know exactly how wide. I don't think I want this website to go full super widescreen. Like a lot of websites do that nowadays. You know, those big, huge full screen websites. might be a little trendy. I want people to be able to just get the content and the information that they need, you know, get in, get out, and that's it. So, but what I'm finding out right here is this doesn't look centered. So let's center that. That. Yeah, that's good. I feel like I'm already overcomplicating things a little bit too much with this container nonsense. All that just to have. Okay. Okay. We don't have our fonts selected yet, but that's okay. Here's our hero section. I'm gonna put in the heading, and what do we have? Let's copy this. Excellent. We're going to worry all about styling everything after. We're going to lay everything out to make sure everything is where it needs to be, and then we'll style everything how it's supposed to look. And so we have our heading, and then we're going to have our little text block, which is going to be our little kind of, this is a little subsection here. And let's just call this, I don't know, hero text. Actually, let's just leave it for now, just in case we want to change our mind. And then we have a our link block here, which is going to be a call to action. So learn more about our process, or no, not more, learn about our process. And then we're gonna have an arrow or something like that on the side. And actually, do I have an arrow? I'm sure I have an arrow somewhere. Let's go look at my resources. Got some icons. No, not that one. I like this one better. Look at SVG. You get some arrows. A bunch of different arrows. Something like that. All right, like an arrow forward. Be nice if there was something that had a little bit more lines, or like a little bit more length to it. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. These are pretty small. Can I make a little... Yeah, I like this arrow. Yeah, that's nice. That's arrow long right. Okay, let me put this in here. Let's go to our resources, and we're gonna have a new folder, and we're gonna call it icons. We'll keep all our icons in here, and we are going to, where's it? We want the SVG. Oh, what did I call it again? Which one was it? I can't remember now. Oh, my mind. So arrows. It was arrow long right. Arrow long right. There it is. Excellent. So we go in here. We'll just throw in this icon. It's just a decorative. Okay. And so this is, what should we put here? So this is our hero call to action, and we want to display it like this, and we want this is way too big. We don't want it this big at all. Let's say, what, 60 pixels? Maybe that's even too big. Yeah, something like that. Perfect. So that whole thing is like clickable. Although I need to make it so that's not going to be full width here. We'll figure that out. We shall figure that out. Okay. So we have our hero section. Boom. We build our brands, blah, learn more. And right. Okay. And the next one is going to be our featured, let's just call it featured work. Should I call it work? No, let's call it because everything is going to be like a bunch of classes of work on the work page. So we want to call this, oh, excuse me. What do we want to call this? This is going to be our like portfolio. We'll call it client on the homepage. Okay. And this, okay, so this is going to have, okay, it's just going to be the image. So we don't have to do anything too crazy here. So featured client image. So in here, okay, hang on, let me set this up first, and then I'll talk it through. Oh, what do we want? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do, I am just going to take completely just completely dummy images here. Oh, max size. Okay, of course. I need small images. In fact, these are really large. So I'm just throwing in stock images here. But if you are going to use stock, or if you are going to use images, make sure they're not really big. You want them to be as small as possible, but still kind of look as good as possible, if that makes any sense. Because very large image files take a long time to load. And the last thing you want is a very slow loading website. But since I'm just demoing this, or I'm just demoing, these are just going to be placeholders. It'll do just fine. Don't need to worry about optimizing these images just quite yet. So, right. So this image, we're going to have a background image. And we're going to choose which one looks nice. I don't know, maybe something like this. And we want it to cover. And we want it to be centered. All right, and this thing, this is the container. So what we're doing is we're building a container, and then we're going to set the width to be 100%, and we're going to set the height to be, say, 500 pixels. Yeah, that's about good. Maybe a little bit small. What's 400? Yeah. And then when we set the client image, no matter what image we choose, it's always going to be centered in here. It's going to be centered vertically, and it's going to be centered horizontally. I don't know if I have them the right way. And I'm going to need to make sure that when I am creating these images, I'm going to keep that in mind, because this one you can see it's clipping here at the top, and it's not really, this is not the greatest image. But because I know what the resolution is going to be, or what the size of this image is going to be, I'm going to make sure to make it proper. And yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. It's just a way, because yeah, no matter what, as this thing change. Oh, I haven't mobile responsiveness it yet. I haven't put anything here for the size. When it shrinks down. Oh, this is what we should do actually. This should be 1400 pixels at max, and then 100%. That'll probably, there we go. That's why. Yeah. So it responds nicely to what size it is. So that's just a little way that I like to kind of put my images in. Kind of fixing the size of the container and letting the image itself respond. The issues you can have is if your image is of an exact specific size that you want it to always show, then you could run into issues. So like this one, you can see as it's cropped at the top and the bottom, but if it's smaller, you can see it doesn't crop, or will crop at the sides. So you can run into some issues. There's pros and cons, but of course, because this is my website and I'm the one who's going to be using it, and I know exactly what I want for these images, then this makes sense for me. Again, we're going to worry about spacing and everything after. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to put in here, this is going to be the featured client, like just their details. And we're going to have, how are we going to do this? Oh, we want to put a little, oh yeah, we might do that. I kind of like that little dot in the middle. Okay, so should we do? I think just text is going to be fine. So this is where we're going to put, you know, this customer. Oh, wait. First things first. Oh, yeah, no, okay. This works. So this here is our client, like their name. Yeah, that makes sense. So I know, for example, there's these guys, and then in here, featured client services. So that's an example, you know, web site design. So client service. And, you know, what else? Web design, visual identity. And what else do we got? I think I should have this stuff memorized. Yeah, brand strategy. That's a good one. And that's true. Brand strategy. Okay, and I think in between, I'd love to have like a little point. Oops. Like a dot. Like this. Yeah, like that. And this is a, let's just call it, text dot divider. Whoop. There we go. Delete that. Okay, and then we're going to take all of these things and then we're going to vertically align, give them a column gap in between. Booyah. Yeah, that's going to look nice. Yeah, that's going to look nice. Oh, once we get this thing going with some nice fonts, colors, good spacing, because this is spaced obviously like garbage. And this is going to be a nice animated graphic. Oh, it's going to look good. This is going to be good. All right. All right. What are we going for? An hour and 15 minutes. All right. We can go for longer. Work on. I could do this stuff all day. This is too much fun. It's like, was that Captain America? I could do this all day. Okay, now we want another section. This is going to be, this is the section where it is this part right here, where it is your brand speaks who you are. So what is this part called? Does it have a name? Oh my goodness. It's let's just call it like brand overview. Oh. Sorry, I just got an email from a client. A little bit of task I need to do. I'll have to take care of it after this. And one quick thing here. Okay. Meet you tomorrow. Excellent. All set up for tomorrow. Okay. So, yes, this is the brand section. Right. I mean, it doesn't really matter what this is called. I always want to make sure I make it something that makes sense. Like, let's call it this for now. If we change it, then we change it. So we're going to have another heading. This is going to be an H2 heading. Make sure to keep our hierarchy intact. This is our H1 heading. This is our H2 heading. And your brand speaks to who you are. Right? Is that what I had? Yeah. And then right here. And then, perfect. So this is going to be much bigger text, and it's going to take up a good chunk of the page. Should there be a call to action after this part? Your brand speaks to who you are? Not necessarily. You can just scroll down, keep reading from some more information. I think it's okay for now. All right, now we have our from the journal section. And what we're going to do here is we're actually going to create a couple journal articles because this stuff is going to be pulled in from the database. So let's create one. Oh, you know what we need to do first? We need to create an author. Let's create an author. Oh, not here. New author. Do I have a profile picture? You know what? I don't have any old pictures, but I think, oh, this is not, oh yeah, it's still plugged in. Okay. Personal design. Avatar. Right. All right. Let's throw that in. Okay. And new journal article. Um. On. Oh, I'm totally making this stuff up. Something random and stupid. Uh. Actually, that sounds too negative. It's time to give up. 5 reasons why something super stupid like that. Okay. I just need to find an image. So just searching for something. Nope. There's probably a file size limit to this as well too. Pick an author. Of this article, and this text is going to appear at the beginning. And let's generate some dummy text. Oh, I think you can do that within Webflow. How do you do that though? Or maybe it's not in Webflow. Maybe I'm thinking of Asana. I think I'm thinking of Asana. All right, let's just copy this. Paste it in. I feel like some of these paragraphs are a little bit long. And let's just say actually this is one of those. I'll put that as a quote. Perfect. And we'll do one more. Let's see. Author. This one. There we go. And let's copy this. Try maybe a smaller quote like this. Then we'll play around with all the other styling as well too, which we're gonna have to style, but for now, this is good. Okay, so now in this journal section, let's get back to There we go. So we're actually going to keep this, well, it's going to be dynamic. So we're going to have to draw from the collection, and we're going to want this to be kind of in a grid section. So we could put it on the whole thing. Okay, so let's go to the collection. And so what this is where Webflow gets really, really cool, is when you want to add something in here, you add a collection and you select the source. So this is going to be journals, and you can see here it's going into the collection and it's gathering all the journal items. So for now, we're going to keep it full width so we can kind of have control over what we're going to want it to do. And so you get these kind of things here as collection list wrapper, collection list, and then the item itself. So this here is where there's the actual item itself. So if we go here and we can start adding elements to this. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a heading. And to keep our hierarchy, we're going to go at H3 heading. And you can click this thing here, which is get text from journals. So we're going to click that. And what that's going to do is it allows us to select a field that's a text field. So there's a title, the short description, or the author name, and then the Twitter handle. And there's a few other things here: created on, published on, updated on. So we just want to get the title. So we're going to hit the title. And then just like that, you get your dynamic content, which is really, really cool. So we're going to want to have the heading, and then we're going to have the author. Perfect, just like that. And actually, what we are also going to want is the journal thumbnail. And what we're going to do, it's going to be 100% again, but the height. So what is the height for this one? That's 400. So maybe I want these ones to be just a little bit smaller, 300. And we're going to go here again into the backgrounds. Although what we want to do is we want that to be dynamic. So we're going to go here to the settings for this element, and we're going to here to set the dynamic style. We're going to get the background image from the journals collection, this little database thing. So we're going to click that, and we're going to want it, not the profile picture, which is going to be the avatar of the author, but we want to get the thumbnail image. So we're going to click that, and it's going to override, which is fine. That's what we want it to do. So we're going to go back here into the styles, and we're going to go, I think, yeah, we hit the plus button, and we're going to make sure that the images cover, and it's everything into, is it cover or contain? No, contain is going to duplicate. Position center, cover, and we don't want it to tile at all. I forgot to put that into here. Make sure that that does not tile. Perfect. So that's how we bring in our blog posts, which are very nice. But what we also want here is we want to, so how should I do this? So this collection item, the blogs are going to be in 2 columns, not stacked one by one here. So, I mean, this is going to be used throughout. So what I'm thinking, when you have something that has 2 columns and layout, you generally like to reuse your styles wherever possible. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to do 2-column grid. So this 2-column grid, we're going to put it into a grid. Ooh. So I think my grid is in the wrong spot. That's okay. I'll fix that in a second. So what do we need to be a 2-column grid? I think, is it in the list? This is just the item itself. This is a repeat the item. Yeah, no, that's the stuff on the inside. It's got to be here. And there we go. So I think what we want, can I put anything in here? I don't think I can. Let's go in here. This is, I do believe, are we at heading 2? Yeah. From the journal. Beauty. Oh, actually, so one thing we want to make sure is we want people to be able to actually click on this and get to, you know, get to the blog post. So we're going to put that in a link block. We're going to put the title into a link inside. There we go. It's inside. And in this link block, we are going to click this settings and get the URL from the journal. Oh, no, sorry, we don't want the URL. We want to click it to this page, which is the current page. So this current page is how to increase the visibility. That's the current page, and it's going to open up whenever you click. So I think if we do this little eye, we can see. So if we click here, it gets to that page, which is blank because there's nothing here. But this is the page it's on. So let's go back. Excellent. And then, okay, so here's a first thing where we want to kind of reuse this section here. So this is going to, I'm going to rename this because I renamed it hero call to action, but there's another call to action that's below that's identical to this. So I want to reuse this element or this component, well, whatever you want to call it, this section. We'll figure out what we're going to call this thing later on. But I want to rename it something that's more generic because it's not going to be in the hero section, right? It's too loud, a little loud in my ears. So we're going to call this, what should we call it? We're going to call it arrow call to action. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in here. So now we have this other, oh, you know what we should do instead? We should make it into a symbol. Right, that'll be even better. Okay, so undo that. So what we're going to do, should we do it right now or should we do that later? Let's do it right now. Okay, we're going to call this a new component. We're going to call it arrow call to action. Create. Okay. And then what we can do is we can create, is it properties? So we want to create a new property. How does it work? They changed it a little bit. So in this one, right, component properties. So it has a visibility and has a link, and it also needs text. So this should be new text, just as an example. Let me just see how this works here. And then, so I know down here, I want to put this call to action arrow. Oh yeah, there we go. Right, and then this one's different. So this text is going to be, what is it going to be? Read more from the journal. And this one here is going to be, oh shit, what was it? Learn about our process. The nice thing about this is that if I go in here and I edit this component, so if I go here and I give this a class of, I don't know, test class, and then I, make this thing really big and I change the color to red, whatever, you can see that it's applying that to this one here as well. So if you have any changes to this call to action, it's going to update on every single page, which is really lovely. Okay, so I like that. Now where are we? Oh, now we're at the Let's Talk section. Let's talk. What text do I have for this? All right. Text. No, let's do it this way so it doesn't get any weird formatting. And then we have another. No, not you. Call to action component. Inside here though, please. And this is oh, I don't want to do that. Why isn't it? There we are. There it is. This is called Get in Touch. But this whole thing, we want everything here to be centered. But that's not being centered either because of how this component is. We're going to have to fix this because we don't, right now it's like, well, what is it? Oh, right. Just want it to be something like that. But of course that screws everything up. Nope. No, we still need that. Interesting. Okay, we'll have to figure that out later. And you know what we want for this part too? We want this one to be not as wide as everything else. What is this width? 100 or 1,000 pixels? So I want it like 60%. And of course, have it centered. Perfect. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. And now, and I think from there, I do believe is the footer. Yep. Footer. Which one do I like the best? All right, what just happened there? Now, there's lots of different things we could do with the footer. Do we want to have it on a different colored background? I think let's just keep it simple for now, and let's come up with the layout that we want. I'm just looking at this again. I'm trying to figure out which one I like the best. Thinking how this is going to look. I think going with the more traditional 2-column is going to work the best here. So in here, we're going to want our logo. Actually, no, let's, before we do that, that'll be this. And then let's wait for a second. This is going to say so we have that. And then we're going to have another section. Actually, we're going to have, how many more sections? Oh, excuse me. We're going to have that section is going to have, okay, this section is going to have the company information links and then the social media links. So it's going to have two things within there because, yeah, okay. I'm just talking this out loud. It's weird when I got to talk this out loud. I've never done this before in terms of when I'm building something, talking out loud. Okay, so the footer itself is going to have 2 columns, and we're going to want to flex them so that they're each on their own side. And then on this side, which is going to be on the right side, there's going to be 2 more columns nested in there. One column is going to have like process services and journal, and the other side is going to have Twitter, YouTube, podcast, whatever kind of social links. And then below all of that, then we're going to have the subscribe to our email newsletter form or field, I guess you can say, or just for your email. Yep. If that makes any sense. If it doesn't, well, let's build it, and hopefully it makes sense once it's built. Okay. So, right. So in here, do we want another heading? Does this need like an actual heading? It's not so much of a heading, but I don't think we want it as that type of heading for screen readers. So, what do we got? And then over here. And this is footer link. This is process. Work. Our journal. And we're just going to duplicate this one. And this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to Twitter. I should probably get a Twitter account if we're going to be promoting it. I don't know if I want to for a company. I don't know if it's important right now. I don't think it is. Not journal. I think developing the podcast is going to be more important. Talking to all kinds of other business owners. Probably try to get people locally here to come on the show. Talk business. Talk what everyone's up to. And share stories. That's going to be fun. Okay. And let's put that up at the top. Actually, this is footer heading. And this is pixel, and this is social. And I like, except what we're going to want to do is we're going to do this first here. Move those off to the side. And then this is just a footer column. I think makes sense. Footer column. Right. So we'll do that. Is that there you go. Yeah, great idea. Yeah, you like that idea for the podcast? This is not it's definitely not a new idea that's been in my mind. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And the problem that I'm having or that I'm thinking about is what the execution is going to be like. It's one of the reasons why I've been thinking about getting some type of office space somewhere here locally. I'm not sure where yet, but a place where I can set up for a nice studio where I could film and record podcasts, but also film and record courses. So people that want to do any kind of online courses or what have you, to film that. So I'll have some sets for that. And then there's great stuff where I can film stuff for my own stuff, but also for other people. So if people wanted to rent out the studio space to do their own podcast or whatever, so we could provide that as kind of a service to have someone kind of run the gear or whatever, and then chop up all the stuff and have social media content. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know at what stage of the process I should do something like that, whether that's something I should consider sooner rather than later, because I don't want to put a bunch of money out for a spot if it's just going to be a drain on my cash flow, which is, just starting out, it's a little bit tight, right? So you have to be careful. And I don't know how much real estate costs here in order to rent something that's decent for a good price. And does it matter if it's downtown Halifax or whatever? That's going to be really expensive too, I would imagine. But maybe things are lucky in the sense that not lucky, but I guess in the sense that I imagine corporate real estate maybe took a hit, right? Over the past couple of years, where people are now working remotely a lot more. So maybe it's cheaper. Yeah, I don't know. What's that? Love it. We should talk about that. Totally help with the actual space. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Like you're thinking like, people that have space, or you're really familiar with that neighborhood? Not the neighborhood, with that, with people around here. Because I guess you are from here, right? So getting space would be amazing. Yeah. We'll definitely talk for sure. Because that would be awesome. No, property manage your thing. Yeah, well, let's talk. Yeah. I totally know exactly what I would want for my studio. But I mean, okay, pie in the sky when I'm dreaming. The first stage of my dream is having my house and having like a garage off to the side, or like a basement that's just really, really big, that's just done up really, really nice. So there's a couple different things. There's a music studio on one side, and then there's an actual like podcast studio on the other side. And then there's a kind of an open space that has different stations where you can have different sets for different things that you want to record for like YouTube content or what have you, or course creation and all that kind of stuff. So that would be in the house. And then the second thing, even way above that, it would be to have an actual corporate office space where we're doing all kinds of work for different clients, where there's not just filming stuff, but actually doing, the brand work and all the marketing and all that stuff for clients, and they can come in and we can have discussions or whatever. So lots of ideas, pie in the sky stuff, but I tend to dream in, I don't know, pretty big leaps and bounds. So maybe it's too much, but I wouldn't have it any other way. First steps first. Let's build this website. How do I? So what are you saying? Yeah. So many people want this. I was actually wondering how I could set up something at home this morning or rent a place. Yeah. The thing is too, is like, if you look at the gear that I have, like I just, like even, so I'm going to film for a client, tomorrow, and I picked this thing up because it's going to help. And like this camera was $3,500. So, and then the lens, it's got a $1,200 lens on it. So you're looking at close to a $5,000, and that's just one camera. And then I got this camera and lens filming. That's another $4,000. And these microphones, like it's expensive. Like it adds up. And if you want to have that type of quality, or it's expensive. So, but if you could just rent a place and then you pay well, I have no idea how much you'd pay, but it wouldn't be that much, right? You have a professional studio where you get all that equipment for you. It's so much cheaper and so much more efficient, I guess you can say. And I'm thinking of the idea of having it like as a service, right? So, you know, I guess you weren't here, or I don't know if you saw any of the previous episodes, but I was talking about thinking of ways to do all this stuff as a service, right? So if you partner up with a company, you can provide it. So you pay a certain amount of money, and then you can have that content creation, and you have that generated with you on a month-to-month basis. So I don't know. Anyways, that's now you're getting me talking about all this kind of cool, exciting things in terms of how you're gonna market your company and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I could just keep talking about this for days. It's so exciting. All right, where are we? No, don't worry about this. I do well enough on my own to get myself distracted and get myself off the rails. It's quite all right. I love talking business, as you probably know. Okay, where are we? We're just doing the footer, right? I think we finished. What are we? We're getting close to 2 hours here. I think, yeah, I got to get ready for tomorrow. I got to pack all my stuff. Yeah, all this camera, all these lights, all this stuff has to go. That's the one that's annoying. I need more cameras. I don't have enough cameras. Okay, so let's finish this footer, and then we'll call it a day. And then we'll regroup and come back tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. I don't want to miss a day because I've just started. But I don't know how long I'm going to be shooting for tomorrow. So it's scheduled for the whole day. But depending on what time I get home and come back. So if we do go tomorrow, it's probably not going to be till later on in the evening, which kind of sucks. But I also don't want to miss a day. I want to keep consistent and keep going. Number one, because it's good to just keep going and get into that groove. And number two, I need to work anyways. So might as well just record myself while I work. Okay. Footer link. So this navigation, we are going to display this flex as well, but now we're going to go vertical. We're going to, do you want to give it a little bit of a gap? A little bit. And, we're also going to need to footer column container. Footer navigation container. Something like that. And maybe even like this. Something like that. Okay. So, yeah. So, footer, again, try to picture this with a little bit more spacing here. We have the logo, the creed. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? We might have to do one other thing, because where are we going to have... No, we have to have the subscription form. That's the last thing. How do we want it? How do we want to display this one? I think we want it down below. Okay. Let's do this. All right, so that's not a really good class name at all, footer top. But what I'm doing here, I think it'll be clear in a second. So this one, I gotta get rid of that. This one, I'm going to justify it back this way. And then we're going to have, footer, bottom, and then this is where we're going to have our subscribe form, if that makes sense. And this is going to be, and what we're going to do, we're actually going to go into MailChimp here, and this is going to be our MailChimp form. Oh, let's go log in. And I mean, I guess we're going to need to create a new one. Right. We'll create a new audience and then we'll get the code. And then we'll connect that to our MailChimp with our newsletter subscription. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to do that today. That's not too important. So this one, we don't want to collect people's names. Just the email address, I think, is good. And let's make sure our settings are good here. Subscribe form. So basically, when you're in MailChimp, you'll get, I can't remember exactly where it is, but if you look at the sign up forms, I do believe, and embed forms, you can go in here in the settings. They changed this. It's all different now. Where did they put it? Well, now I'm just curious. Yeah, I can't remember. It's not this. Let me see. Oh, they changed it. Anyways, basically what I'm trying to do is there's a place here, like this is where you kind of create your forms. So like if I went here, this should be the actual location where there's a form. So you can subscribe to this newsletter right here. But there's some little piece of code which is generated so that when people hit, this subscribe button, it sends the information, that MailChimp knows that this form was submitted, and then this information, the email, the first name, goes into, the proper area here. And there's a little piece of code that you take that you'll cut and paste, and you put it here. I think it's in the custom attributes, or it could just be in this action here. I can't remember exactly where. You just cut and paste it, and then that's how you connect your form from your Webflow to your MailChimp. But we'll do that when it makes sense to do that. Whenever that is. When we're there. So we're going to go here. I'm going to go subscribe. And occasional, something like that. And what are we going to do? In that text field, let's put a placeholder. Just like that. And I think that's our homepage. We build our brands. So obviously not designed at all, but that's okay. We'll get to that. Okay, and let's see what this looks like here. Yep. Good. I like it. I think we're off to a decent start here. Okay, so we're gonna end it here today because I have to go get ready and just be ready for shooting tomorrow. So I'm shooting tomorrow, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna be back. So if I do live stream tomorrow, which I have to, I'm gonna force myself to. It'll probably be till it probably won't be until later on into the evening. So we might be talking like 6 or 7 o'clock Eastern time. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're just gonna leave it here. And tomorrow we're just gonna continue on doing some more building out of our pages. All right. So until then, have yourself a great night, and we'll see you next time.